So 2 Malibu clusters came in on the same day. So I figured that would be a good opportunity to talk about these Malibu clusters. These are 2013 to around 2016, and they're starting to pop up quite often with intermittent power issues. Let me see if I can duplicate it here, replicate it, and yeah, this one is just dead completely. Let's switch over to one that has already been repaired to show you what it's supposed to do. Okay, so there we have some life. So if you're watching this video, you're probably one of 2 categories. You are either a cluster repair technician and you do this kind of stuff all the time, or you own a Malibu and the dealership just quoted you $1,000 to get your dead cluster fixed. Now, if you're the first, if you are a experienced technician and have experience with soldering and taking clusters apart, this is a pretty easy repair and you should be able to handle it no problem. Now, if you've never soldered before or never taken apart a cluster before, I wouldn't really recommend this being the first one you jump into and do. You might want to look into sending it off. What we need to do is there's a fractured resistor, R203, and it's small. It's in the territory of getting into the micro soldering size. It is a 1.2K in location R203, and like I said, it's 0603, so it's getting down there where you can solder it with your naked eye, but you won't want to. I'll show you the size once we get in there. Another thing with these clusters is they use these snap together, snap on, solderless stepper motors that are gear driven, or actually worm gear driven, and they don't like too much force put on them. They will snap apart and the gears separate and they're kind of a mess. So something to watch out for. That's why I don't really recommend anyone just jump in that's never messed around with clusters before. So we got to pull the needles. This part you have to be kind of gentle with them. I am twisting them past the stop point to kind of break them free, and then just kind of give them a little upwards help there. Of course, I'm using this cloth so I don't gouge up, fingerprint the face. Okay, so after you pull the needles, next you remove the back black plastic just by unclipping all the way around, which I've already done. And then next we have to free the circuit board. This is held on by clips. Now these 4 clips here, 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 and here, these actually stay. These hold the LCD to the board, and we don't have to undo that. We just have to work our way around. And once I get this board free, before I forget, there's an Easter egg hiding for us on the other side. Oops, we do have to undo these clips right here and here. There we go, that's my problem. One of the engineers over at GM had a little fun, but if you look here, I'm sure there's a story behind that, but you can see printed in the screen, there's a guy, looks like he's playing fetch with his dog. He's holding the ball there, and there comes a puppy. I'm sure there's a story behind that. If someone knows, I'd love to hear it. But anyways, back to work. Let's get a closer look here. Now, R203. The culprit is right here. And even with just the naked eye, you can see it's kind of discolored. This little guy gets hot. Looks like it just drives a gate of probably a MOSFET or maybe the base of a transistor. Anyways, if you kind of follow the trace, it just ends up going to this whole power supply area over here. So it kind of makes sense on why the whole thing's shut down. Anyways, to get a better look at this, in fact, maybe I can just flick this off right now. We'll pull this up on the microscope. We might be able to see the actual fractured side. All right, let's give it a test. Got my power supply on, set to 13.8. And now if you remember, when I first tried this, it was completely dead. So let's see if it'll come to life. Come on, hey, there it is. Screen should come up in a second there. Yep, okay, ooh, it's fixed. Now it's just time for reassembly. Now, with this GM cluster for setting the needles back, it doesn't use a bounce back like pretty much all the other GM clusters use. These ones, when they're set back to factory spec, they just bottom out right at 0. And again, with these motors are kind of pains in the butts because they are fragile, but I'm just looking for a stopping point right on the mark. And this will do a little self-sweep test too, just to confirm I've set them right once we get it all back together. So not only do you want to get the starting right, but the depth, how far down you push the needles is important too. They sit up too high. You'll get some light leakage from underneath, and they might even fall off if you don't put them on far enough. But you don't want to push them down too far, because then they'll rub on the face. It'll bottom out and might not even move if you bottom it out too hard. So you just got to find a little sweet spot where it's tight but not rubbing. And the gas just a hair under the E. And then these stepper motors since they're worm gear, they're not quite as easy to move by hand, but you still can if you give them a little flick. Here I'm just confirming that they're starting right on the dot. Okay, let's do a quick little test before we put the lens on. And when they stop, they should rest right on the marks. Yeah, that's about as good as it's going to get. And we are done. That is how you fix your 2013 to right around 2015 or 16, I'm not exactly sure, Malibu Cluster when it has intermittent power. And again, if you accidentally flick that resistor off the board, which definitely can happen when you've got fractured joints, it is a 1.2K in the size of 0603, also known as 1608, and it's R203. Well, hey, hopefully this video should help somebody out. So give me a thumbs up, and thanks for watching.